From the Charleston County School Board elections to working on the Charleston County School Board to his own future, I sit down one-on-one with Charleston County School Board member Chris Collins for a special edition of Quintin's Close-Ups. And be sure to download the free Quintin's Close-Ups app in your Apple or Google Play stores. Chris Collins, it's so good to see you again.
It's wonderful to see you, my friend.
I appreciate it greatly. I understand that you have a lot to talk about.
No matter.
And there's so much to talk about, from the coalition to kids to the school board candidates to privatization of certain schools and whatnot.
Yes.
What is it like for you, Chris Collins, a Charleston County School Board member right now?
Well, for me, I'm at a place where I'm very concerned, very concerned from what I see. I guess you can say my mind is occupied with so many concerns about the Charleston County School District and how it's affecting our children and all the children, not the children of color, but really impacting kids. We call Title I schools, schools that receive Title II funds, schools with a high population of lesser income families, which a lot of them are predominantly minority children.
And obviously, I talked about the Coalition for Kids earlier. When you look at the slate of candidates that are being endorsed by the Coalition for Kids, where does your mind go to?
Well, when I see the Kids Coalition, the Charleston Coalition for Kids candidates, I say to myself, apparently these endorsees are not reading, they're not studying, they're not familiar with what's happening in Charleston County. They don't see the achievement gap. They don't see the test results. They don't see SC ready, not really especially the MAP data, ACT. So they don't know these skills are prepared, and why would anyone recommend bringing back people who have oppressed the system and oppressed the children that they don't get opportunities to learn? So I'm concerned, just what is this Kids Coalition really about? And that's what I really want to focus on just a little bit, this Kids Coalition. From what I understand, the primary goal is that they begin to meet sometime this year, leading up to the election. They have not done any work in schools. They've not had any participation in schools. They've had no involvement with children. They've had no impact on education. But they are a group that has come together. Some said that this group is primarily acquainted and associated with the superintendent and certain board members. But this group has come together basically to control the outcome of the school board election or to have a great impact on it, that the slate of candidates that they're pushing will do their will. And my concern is that the will of the coalition candidates is not the will of the people. It does not meet the needs of our children, and the children are not going to prosper under this coalition candidates. We need people that represent the community, that understand the needs of all children in Charleston County.
And you have some candidates of your own who you would like to see in the Charleston County School Board.
Yes.
You said this on October 31st on your Facebook page, quote, "Please vote for Consolidated School Board, Lucas, Johnson, Fielding," meaning
Yes.
Linda Mosley Lucas for the North Area seat.
Yes.
Shad Johnson, that is, from Mount Pleasant.
One of my Pleasant seats.
And of course, for the West Ashley area, Herbert S. Fielding.
Herbert Fielding. But I also like Padron also.
Okay.
So let that be known.
Okay.
And I like Rambo also.
Oh, yeah.
But I want to make sure, and so Rambo has a better campaign, but I mean he's more visible than Sarah. And so I want to make sure that Sarah gets in, that she gets the help she needs from us, that we push Sarah Johnson all the more, because we're more familiar with her. But I think both would be great candidates. But these are my favorite two here on the table.
Okay.
Johnson and
Mosley.
and Linda Lucas Mosley, yes.
Why then, why now?
Well, and because of their experience in education, and I'm familiar with their work in the community already, and they have earned my trust. That Ms. Lucas has been involved with my own children at their school as a guidance counselor, and I've talked with Ms. Johnson, Sarah Johnson, on many occasions about school issues, and I was with her during the last campaign, and I trust her that she has the interests of our kids at heart.
And when you go back to the Coalition for Kids, I know that there's been a big controversy on Facebook recently about State Representative Wendell Gayard.
Yes.
You said this on October 24th for your Facebook page, quote, "It's unfortunate our elected official, Wendell G., meaning Wendell Gayard,
Yes.
is being paid to campaign to re-elect school board incumbents."
Yes, and I'll elaborate on that. Brother Wendell Gayard, our state representative, he's been down to the school district in times past, complaining, fussing, arguing about decisions the board's been made and what the direction the district's going in. and he's been a supporter of our communities and supporting us and championing for us that we get justice in our community. He's done good works, and he's not our enemy. You know, I don't hate when they get any before what happened now, but when he endorsed the candidates for the Kids Coalition, he went against the community. He went against the kids that needed support. He went against poor children. He went against Spanish children. He went against black children, poor white children. He went against poor Asian children. He went against the norm. And we believe that the coalition has endorsed him with finances, with money, to make the statement he's making that these are the best candidates. How can they be the best candidates now before election that you support, and all along you were against these candidates? You spoke against them. In fact, you called some of them racist and all. So how is it now the table's turned that you're supporting these coalition candidates? And I want to go a little further, if you let me.
Sure.
With the Kids Coalition and then the Clemson Diversity Study,
Right.
I want to read a little bit to you about what's really happening. I'm going to put my glasses on now, or my Coke bottles on, so I can read a little bit. And this is a recommendation from the Clemson study. Talks about closing the achievement gap. It says close the gaps in performance and achievement. Then it says, this recommending one that create a team of experts from within and outside the district tasked to determine the resources and management authority needed to improve the performance of students at identified challenging and distressed schools. And be careful to listen to these words: management authority, distressed schools, challenging schools. We know that challenging schools are schools primarily have a population of minority kids. A lot of them are in North Charleston, you know, like schools like, for example, Mary Ford, Shakur, Burns, which is district is trying to close out and put in the Meeting Street Academy. And we can go all up and down Justice Road, all the schools, Huntley Park, Limes, Pepper Hill, North Charleston Elementary. We can go all across Charleston County. Even James Simmons has high population. So the schools this report is doing from the Clemson study is telling us that the superintendent and his coalition of kids candidates, which are Sidney Coates, Eric Mack, and Kate Darby, our board chairperson, they have in mind that to take these schools that are underperforming and what they call distressed and challenging, and take these schools and turn these schools over to a private management company. In other words, the district won't be responsible for the outcomes, but they'll simply be handed over to a group to manage them because they're so challenging, they're so distressed, they're so underperforming. And the other part of this says whether to the schools can be, whether to combine the schools, whether to close the schools or the programs, but basically to do whatever it takes to get them on the right track. So how can it be that closing schools is the answer, or combining schools is the answer, or private management is the answer for the school district that the coalition is really proposing? To me, this is ludicrous. If closing Lincoln High School and the middle school didn't increase academic results and performance, how can closing other schools do likewise? It's never worked. Closing schools has never produced any child, caused any child to produce better grades, better reading, better math or science. It just doesn't work. We have to get it. We have the resources at CCSD to get to every school, to put in additional teachers, additional assistant teachers, additional principals, teacher coaches, lead teachers, reading specialists, math specialists, interventionists. We have the resources to do it ourselves. There's no reason for us to even consider anybody going under private management. And this is what the Coalition for Kids candidates bring. A vote for Sidney Coates, Kate Darby, and Eric Mack, and in this case, is a vote basically to close out Title I schools, low-performing schools, schools in minority areas, or to place them under a different type of management, and then or to combine these schools and to close out certain programs. This is not what the people elected us to do. We're here to educate all the children in Charleston County with $1 billion annually coming in. We ought to be able to do a good job of that.
Where is the money? You say you have the resources. Where is the money to take care of these failing schools?
Well, a lot of money is being paid to consultants. We've already spent this year, now my numbers may be a little bit off, around $2 million or better, maybe I think over $2 million, just in consultants alone. That's a lot of money. Just for somebody to come and tell you what you already know, then when you get there, you're not going to do anything about it because you knew this all along. So why did come to Charleston and tell me that I have a problem with my achievement gap? why not you come and tell me that I'm dealing with racism? Like as if I don't know that. So this is really what I call a prelude. Or like, you build a house, you have some steps leading to the porch. And then after the porch is the house. So the steps in study is giving us, it's the steps leading to the porch, showing us that, hey, what we're headed for now is the privatization of our schools. Also, we're headed for the dismantling of the constituent boards. But they mentioned that the constituent boards are our problem. That they're in the way. That they said the constituent boards is causing us racial divide and racism and an achievement gap. Is being blamed for that. And then also speak about our board, the CCS Board of Trustees, that we're also in the way. So for me as a trustee, to hire someone to run the school district and to turn around and tell me that the board authority is the problem, that I'm the authority, but the same authority that hired you was a blessing to you to pay you a huge salary, but now the board's authority is in the way, so therefore you cannot educate all the children. So therefore, the best thing to do then is put them in the private companies' hands, and the private companies that run the schools for us. To me, that's ludicrous.
Coherent governance. You heard about that a couple of years ago.
Yes.
Was that a mistake?
But the board didn't vote to approve coherent governance, because coherent governance means that we yield all our authority and power to the superintendent. So here's what Cindy Coates and Kate Darby did sneakily. They began to rework the policies, call themselves doing a policy update. And they got by the first time with some changes that slipped past me that I didn't realize. But I began to start reading the policy changes that Ms. Coates was presenting, especially in the finance department. And they call the D-finance policy, the D policies in the finance section. And what she basically did, Cindy Coates and Kate Darby, they took the policy and reworded them, which the board voted that night. I presented a set of policy proposals, and Cindy Coates presented policy proposals. And mine say that the board would maintain authority on every decision financially over $50,000. The board would make rule on it. Cindy's decision said that the superintendent would make financial decisions and lose money, basically unlimited, without and just report it to the board after the fact. So we voted that night. I presented my proposals. Cindy had hers on the agenda. Mine was a hard copy. So we called back and found out. I called back a couple of days later and said, "Hey, what's going on? What happened? What's going on with the policy?" The board minister said, "Well, so you're saying your policy got approved, or I'm thinking Cindy's policy got approved?" I said, "Well, I called Kate Dobbs. I said, Kate, let's get back and get this thing straightened out. We all voted last night, affirmative. So some people thinking that you voted for Cindy's policy, some think you voted for my policies. I said, I didn't vote for Cindy's policies. I voted that the board would maintain full authority and control of all financial matters exceeding $50,000. So 3 months later, Ms. Darby and the coach started operating out of Cindy's policies. So now the superintendent's allowed to spend, like you see, over $1 million on one consultant, hundreds of thousands of dollars on others, $80,000 here, $60,000 here. It just all adds up. So there's now that we don't have any say-so in the matter, because there's policies that Kate has enforced, which basically has dismantled the board and stripped the board's authority. We have no say-so now in financial matters because of these same board members are up for re-election.
Why are you even there?
We're there now to keep the chairs warm and to watch things and watch Ms. Darby do what she wants to do.
What is your relationship like with the Charleston County School Board members right now? You mentioned Kate Darby, you mentioned Sidney Bonecoats, Reverend Eric Mack, Superintendent. What is your relationship with them now?
I appreciate I respect each one of them. I appreciate what they do. I don't hate or anger at none of them, but I think when Ms. Darby got on the school board, she didn't understand what she was really getting into. I've been in the Charleston School Board for 10 years, and this last 4 years have been kind of rough. And I saw Ms. Darby as a person come on the school board, as a person who did not want me to have input. She came on the school board, didn't want me to represent my constituents. She didn't want me to have any say about my community and the schools in North Charleston. She was somewhat opposed to things I was speaking for, and that really began to trouble me. And Cindy Coates she was learning this from Cindy Coates. Cindy Coates was feeding her the information about me. And so they decided together there'd be the dynamic duo to shut me down from operating in my community. And they began to pass policies that it would take 4 people to get something on 3 people to get something on the committee of the whole agenda. So Ms. Darby put her friends in place to be committee of the whole liaisons or chairpersons of each one. So when myself or Kevin Hollinshead or Michael Miller wanted to place an item on the agenda, Ms. Darby's white friends or herself had to approve it. We couldn't do it ourselves unless it was to do with the building committee, which I can't think of the name of right now, but we had to get the finance, get the policy, then we get the SEC. And so the other committee deals with the buildings and the school buses and stuff like that.
Okay.
So we can get stuff on that one, because that doesn't impact the classroom. But as finances and policies and academics, but basically black board members cannot get anything on the committee to hold agenda unless Ms. Darby or her friends approve it, which would be Todd Garrett, Cindy Coates, or Priscilla Jeffrey. And for the most part, 99% of the time, they will not approve it because Ms. Darby will not approve it, and so we can't get anything on the agenda. And so this is hard on us. So I can't support a system that comes to oppress me and oppress the people of Charleston County and North Charleston and have sent all the money over in the other areas, that are affluent areas, and our kids go like that. This is crazy. So this is very discouraging. I think to Mr. Mark, we don't need people on the board that's going to oppress any community, going to shut any community down, or going to fight against board members. We need a cohesive board working together to help all children. That's what it's all about. And our kids are too far behind.
Did you all miss the mark with the Marvin Gabbers alleged child sex case?
Absolutely. The only person who would have had knowledge about the Marvin Gabbers case in details would have been the board chairman, which would have been Cindy Coates at the time. The board didn't get any updates. All the board got was we had a teacher had porn on a computer in executive session, and that was it. We didn't get no decision, no recommendation what the superintendent did. We didn't have any other details. There was no more. The next thing we knew about it, we learned from the media. But the board chair and the superintendent all work close together. They know all the major issues. So the other 8 board members probably didn't know anything, but the board chairperson should have known. Should have been involved and that person got promoted and got a new vehicle and stuff and transferred. They had to have some kind of knowledge. iPad, yeah, that's right, iPad. So they had to have some knowledge of that, just being the board chairperson. So then here we are. We missed the mark. We messed up. I take blame for it too because I didn't know,
Okay.
but I should have known. And had I known, he would have been in school. He would have been out of school the next day. But I didn't have the knowledge to know that.
And you talk about issues. Let me talk to you about Garrett Academy. Obviously, they had a recent rodent issue there.
Yes.
What more questions do you have about this issue?
Well, with the Garrett, the thing is, we have to treat the kids at Garrett Academy, which come from around the county, the same way we treat those kids at Western State High or Wando or Abuse. We have to treat these kids, or actually River Creative Arts, the same exact way. And what's happening, what we see at Garrett is that a long time abandonment, a long time neglect. You know, if you have children in your house and you buy toys for 1 or 2 of the kids and you give them gifts on their birthday, but the other kids, only every now and then you bring a small gift every year. But those kids are going to start resenting you and getting angry and upset. And this is kind of like what we did to Garrett. Garrett, a few years ago when I got on the school board, Garrett was ranked nationally. And in the top 10 to 20 schools in the country, it was highly recognized. So the district didn't support Garrett, didn't fix the building, didn't fix the air conditioning, didn't exterminate, didn't put down rat poison and keep the building up, didn't improve the cafeteria or the gymnasium. No, did a little patchwork here and there. Finally fixed the roof one time and finally put in some emergency units here and there, but never did the whole complete package that the building needed. And then the district began to take programs out of the school, began to move teachers out of the school, began to move programs out of the school. And what this is, it's a process of elimination that slowly depletes and dwindles down the school population that have become so low that you get to the point that you get less than 200 students, which have 300 some students now, but the goal is to take it down so low that there's no reason to keep the school open. And that should never be the case. If the school was #1 10 or 12 years ago, why did we maintain that excellent school? But why can't we maintain it? We maintain beasts. We maintain it as schools of arts, academic magnet. We maintain those schools to be in top shape, in the nicest buildings, the cleanest environment, the safest environment, the best resources, the best IT and technology, the very best that we have. And why can't we do that in any school with African American children and Spanish children? We just don't have that. We got to do better.
You talk about the children, you talk about the schools. When you think about Lincoln High School, Well, how are those schools, and how are the kids right now at Wanda High School in your mind?
The kids that came from Lincoln, that went to, well, at Wanda now,
Right.
those kids are doing worse. They have not excelled, they've not achieved, they fell further behind. And you might have one or two that did well, but as a whole, we failed those kids again. So again, this was a decision made, led by our board chair, shut down Lincoln, and I think African American board went against that decision, trying to save a community, because we know that the school is the lifeblood of a community. It makes the community vibrant. It's what sells real estate. It's what builds new houses and drives businesses there. So without the school being there, the community is going to be depleted now of a vital resource. But it was a poor and ill-advised decision to close the school, the only school in that area, from miles and miles away, to close it down. But you know why we sometimes close schools? They don't impact us. They're not our children. We don't feel it. It doesn't have any impact on us whatsoever. Our life remains the same. Those kids have to go home and cry, and their parents cry and upset. All the history is gone out the window. And Lincoln was the same thing. Wasn't putting new teachers, wasn't putting in the best teachers all the time. Wasn't putting in good programs. Wasn't taking care of the building. Wasn't fixing the air conditioning. Wasn't keeping the place clean up to date. Didn't want to rebuild the school. And the thing is, what sense does it make to be on the school board when we have the money and you don't want to vote and don't want to approve to rebuild the schools? Don't want to approve to put the resources in there. Don't you say, well, it's only maybe there's only 20 kids that can take advanced math or AP science. But it isn't better for those 20 kids to get that knowledge at a higher cost than for those 20 kids not to get that knowledge and then go to college and struggle and fail or fall out of school. So to me, there's no price tag too high to pay for kids getting the resources. We say the numbers are so low that it costs so much per pupil to maintain Lincoln, but I disagree. It's a high cost to save a life. It's a high cost to get a child prepared for the future. It's a high cost to pay for a young man and young woman to be able to take care of family, be able to put a roof over their head, be able to provide for their children and raise children in a clean, decent neighborhood, to have a good chance of success in life, and to be happy and prosperous. But they can then turn around and contribute back to the community to bring other children along. So basically, we reap what we sow. We put in good things, then good things come out of it. We take out good things, and then bad things come out of it.
And you talk about your future, really the future. What is your future on the Charleston County School Board going forth after this election?
To clean it up. To clean it up. My goal is hopefully that by the end of next week, by next week after Tuesday, that we've got a school board that wants to work. My biggest priority is to get every school underperforming, under-resourced, understaffed, up to par, and those kids have every opportunity to succeed in life. We can do better in North Charleston. In the city of North Charleston, for example, in some of the West Ashley, especially rural West Ashley, you don't have one single school that's really excellent. I mean, when I speak about traditional schools now, I don't mean magnet schools. We do not have one single school in the entire city of North Charleston that's really excellent. Not even really good. But all of the schools in North Charleston are either at risk, below average, or maybe one or two, a few at average, maybe, at best. We got to do better. And it takes out of a nine-person board member, it takes 5 to agree that we're going to fix North Charleston. We're going to fix rural West Ashley. That we're going to fix other rural areas. We're going to fix some of the downtown schools. We're going to fix Burke, and we're going to fix Sanders Clyde. We're going to fix these schools to get them what they need. We're going to fix Mitchell. We can do better. But we got to have people on the school board that want to do better, that care about kids. If you get elected to the school board and you care about children, it's going to show. And the results are going to come forward. We're going to have change in the community. And we need change in North Charleston and throughout all Charleston County that every child can learn and will learn. That should be our goal and our model.
Reverend Chris Collins, thank you so much for your time. I really, really appreciate this.
God bless you, sir.
Likewise. Thank you.